Hello everyone, my name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to take a look at the brand new Judas Priest Sermons of the Sinner. Fantastic album by former Judas Priest guitarist KK Downing, and it just came out on Friday, October 1st of 2021. But before we get into all of that and take a look at it, if you are new to my channel and haven't already hit the subscribe button, please click the button. Also leave a comment, hit like, all those things help support my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And of course, as an added bonus, by subscribing, you'll be able to stay up to date on all that's going on in the world of music, just like this, with taking a look at the new Judas Priest Sermons of the Sinner. So the band started by former Judas Priest guitarist KK Downing, and of course he's a founding member of Priest, playing on all of their albums from 1974's Rock-A-Rolla up to 2008's Nostradamus, which was a double album too. At the time, the band was actually planning on retiring but changed their mind, which led KK to leave the band. Unfortunately, this left some bad blood between the band members. And over the years, KK has expressed interest in returning to the band. And when Glenn Tipton announced his departure from the band due to his diagnosis of Parkinson's disease, many thought KK would be brought back into the band, but unfortunately that didn't happen, which led KK to forming his own version of Judas Priest, KK's Priest. So the band formed in 2020, and the band originally went under the name Steel Mill, which I thought was a pretty great name in and of itself, but they did change it to KK's Priest. It makes it real clear what we are talking about here, KK Downing and Judas Priest together. And also, since they had three former members of Judas Priest in the lineup at the time, of course we got KK Downing on guitars, and he was with the band from 1970 all the way to 2011. And then Tim Ripper Owens returns on vocals. He was with the band from 1996 to 2003, being Rob Halford's replacement. And then they brought in Les Binks on drums, who was a short-lived drummer with Judas Priest for only 2 years, from 77 to 79. Unfortunately, though, due to a wrist injury, Les did not play on this album here. They brought in a replacement for him, Sean Elg, and he comes from the band Cage and does a fantastic job on drums. It is said, though, that Les will continue to play with the band on and off through live shows and things of that nature, so we will still get to see another member of Priest up on stage with KK there. But the rest of the band is rounded out by Tony Newton on bass, coming from Dirty Deeds and Voodoo 6, and AJ Mills on guitar, coming from Hostile. So that leads us to this album here, Sermons of the Sinner, 2001 debut studio album by the band. And this one here is got all the power of Judas Priest and then some, in my opinion. If Judas Priest doesn't want KK back, I am actually okay with that, because if this album here is any indication of what KK still has to offer, I'm totally fine with it. Let him remain on his own. Let him remain with this band here. Plus you add in the tremendous vocals of Rob Halford's replacement, Tim Ripper Owens on vocals, and this album is on fire from top to bottom. When I heard the first two singles off of this, Hellfire Thunderbolt and Sermons of the Sinner, I thought it might be kind of a one-dimensional album, but, which wouldn't be bad. It'd be like hearing 10 versions of Painkiller on here. But the next two singles on here proved otherwise. Raise Your Fist and Brothers of the Road. Those are both mid-paced rockers with a lot of swagger to them, sort of like the Judas Priest song, Head Out to the Highway. But there's even more to that going on this album, proving that this is a real multi-dimensional sounding album. You've got longer epic songs on here like Metal Through and Through and Return of the Sentinel. The latter being a continuation of the Judas Priest classic, The Sentinel. And so if there was any confusion about where the band's roots lie, this song here should totally clear it up. Just an outstanding song and an outstanding album from top to bottom. All right, so let's take a look at the album itself. This is the front cover of it. It's got a picture of a priest there on it in robes, a lot of fire and smoke and things behind him, kind of very cool. And I like the tassel here that says priest on it there. And here's the back side of it, looking like an old book. You got your sermons or hymns there, kind of a thing. And if we open it up, we get that full view there. And then the gatefold on the inside is really cool. It's an enlargement of this image here, but we get the K and the K there on it, and of course being the title Sermons of the Sinner, so using the Bible or hymnal there. And we've got the disc inside here that just slides right out. Nothing protective on it or additional there, but we do get a nice booklet, which we will take a look at, the cover again. And then not much in the way of photos, but there are all of these graphics, one for each song in here, which I kind of like. Gives you something a little visual to look at, along with the lyrics while listening to the song, getting a better meaning of what each of these songs are about. Sometimes, you know, the lyrics can have double meanings and things like that. But then in the back here, we get who's in the band, and you do get this photo of the 5 guys there. And of course, the backside replicating what's on the CD. So there you go. You know, this thing here being really good, a welcome return in my opinion, from one of metal's most amazing guitar players. I am really glad that KK is back. Not to mention, I never thought we'd get to hear Tim "Ripper" Owens fronting a version of Priest again. I was always a big fan of the 2 albums that he did back with them in the mid to late 90s there. So glad that that's going on. And you know, in my opinion, this is one of the highlight albums of 2021. To me, it has outshined a number of bigger name metal albums that were released this year. And I totally recommend this album for all fans of Judas Priest, but also just if you're a fan of classic heavy metal, do check this album out. All right, I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, please remember to comment, like, and subscribe. And don't forget to check the description for links to related videos. In particular, I did a video called Judas Priest Life After Painkiller, and it covers the Ripper era of time, or starting with that, I should say, you know, after Painkiller, so starting with Ripper, and going through the reunion all the way up to present. So if you want to check something out that's not just the typical rehash of the older stuff, but actually covering the later era of Priest, it's a fun video. And certainly if you enjoyed this, please share it out on social media. I would greatly appreciate that. All right, everyone, take care, have a good day, and I'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.